Morning, everyone, and welcome to our virtual sellout with the Purple Eagles taking on the Siena Saints on this Saturday, what will be Saturday afternoon. My name is Todd Callen, longtime voice of the Purple Eagles men's basketball program, and it's great to be with you on a wintry Saturday morning here on the Niagara Frontier as we come to you live from the NU campus, and really excited to be part of this virtual sellout campaign that we have rolling today, and part of the sellout gives people this special access to our Zoom chat here this morning as we get you set for a 12 noon tip between the Purple Eagles and those longtime rivals, the Siena Saints. We know that in Albany that Siena also embarking on a similar venture this morning with the virtual sellout. So we certainly appreciate your participation today and getting involved in the virtual sellout as we try and raise some funds to benefit the athletic programs. Of course, very tough year all around 2020 and now into 2021. But certainly we appreciate you joining us for our Zoom call today. As people get in and get settled in, we are going to be joined very shortly by Niagara head coach Greg Paulus. And GP will give us a little bit of a update on the team. As you no doubt know, the team coming off a pause due to some positive COVID testing. So we'll get the update from Coach on the state of the Purple Eagles. Then we'll also dive in a little bit to today's opponent, the Siena Saints, maybe a little bit of a scouting report, some tendencies, and some keys to the game for the Purple Eagles. Then we'll let Coach Paulus get back into the locker room and get ready for the tip. We also have a host of former NU alum and student athletes from the basketball program that will be joining in, and we'll turn things over to our attendees here today. If you have questions and answers for our alumni that will be logged in, we certainly welcome those questions. We'll probably get that going around 10 to 11 or so. We've also got a nice highlight video highlighting the series between the Purple Eagles and the Siena Saints. And the rundown says should be joined today by former Purple Eagles Tyrone Lewis, Lorenzo Miles, Sharon Fisher, Greg Noel, J.R. Duffy, Juan Mendez, and David Cerencione. And perhaps emblematic of when Tyrone was here on Montego Ridge. Tyrone was the first one in today. I think he was also the first one at practice oftentimes when he was on campus. And then just before we wrap it up, probably around 11:25 or so, Simon Gray, the director of athletics here at Niagara University, will chime in with some good closing remarks. And then we'll get you set for, again, 12 noon tip. ESPN 3 will provide the coverage for the game today between the Purple Eagles at 6 and 8, taking on the Siena Saints. So I'm confident that Coach Paulus has joined us. I don't have direct confirmation on that, but we'll go out on a limb because GP, I'm sure, is logged in, not only for Coach Paulus, but also whenever anyone has a question, just be sure to unmute your microphone. Let us know for the student athletes that are joining us if your question is for one of the student athletes. Certainly let which of the former Purple Eagle players that you want to ask that question of, and then surely go ahead and fire off your question. We'll hopefully have this very interactive, and I think we're ready to go now. If we could get Coach Paulus. Greg, we certainly welcome you today to our virtual sellout. How are you this morning?
Todd, this is Simon. I think Coach is still logging in. You know, the beauty of these virtual events is that there's always, the pros and the cons of technology. So I do think that sometimes we have a little bit of a challenge getting into Zoom on campus. It's different than when you're doing it at home. And so I think we may be just experiencing some of those things. So I thought maybe I could just start with a few comments while we wait for Coach to get on. Todd, would that be okay?
That is great. Thank you. Good audible.
Yeah, very good. So first of all, I just wanted to thank everyone for being on the call today. It's something new that we're trying. We really wish we had people in the stands at the Gallagher Center, and I know our student athletes do as well. But something different like this, just to try, and we appreciate all of the participation that we got. We had several Purple Eagle fans buy these virtual tickets, and we know that the audience has been very strong watching us online this year. So again, not ideal, but I do want to thank you, Todd, for helping out with this today and emceeing. I know we're going to lead up right to you going on air to the broadcast, so it'll be a little bit stressful for you, but do appreciate you putting in your time. And I also want to thank Steve Butler and Derek Thornton and Kyle Barker from our staff who've worked extremely hard to pull everything together for this virtual sellout. And how about a big shout out to all of our Purple Eagles who've joined us on the call today, our championship Purple Eagles who've joined us. Thanks so much, guys, for being here today. We look forward to hearing from you. It was interesting. I was talking the other day with someone about rivalries and, who people get up for each year. And there's no doubt that when Canisius comes in and St. Bonaventure is here and UB comes in, that everybody is excited, Todd, right? I mean, that's when the Gallagher Center is just a little bit more peppy than normal. But at the same time, Siena has that air to it. And I feel that way, Todd. Do you? When Siena's coming to town, it just feels like a little bit different.
Oh, I think you're right on the money there. And there's a handful of clubs that create that energy. And I like to say when the schedule comes out, who do you look at first? And it's probably Canisius first. But when you're talking the MAC teams, when will the Saints come marching in? And that's due to the history, right? And the rivalry that these teams have forged. They're not too far down the thruway. We see Purple Eagles fans that hop in the car and 4.5 hours later, they're inside the Times Union Center. So a little bit of proximity helps. And then you just get to the battles on the court. Sometimes 40 minutes is enough. Sometimes it's not. But I'll tell you, you love tangling with Siena. And, of course, 2007, Purple Eagles cut down the nets by taking down the Siena Saints that night.
Yeah, and I bet their fans haven't forgotten that yet either, right, Todd? Because we certainly wouldn't in that scenario. But speaking of that, it's really an exciting time as we've worked through an incredibly unique year. I know all of us are dealing with personal challenges that COVID brings about, and of course professional challenges, but there's been a lot of conversation, and I'd be happy to take any questions as we've looked toward Atlantic City and the MAC tournament, speaking of 2007. But it's going to be a tournament unlike any others, and the preparations are going to be unlike any others. So if there are, if any of the people on the call today have questions about that, be happy to answer some of those. And I'll be honest with you, we're still figuring it out. I mean, there are so many differences, as is the NCAA. They just announced yesterday that 25% of the building can be full for the tournament games. And we will not have fans at the MAC tournament, unfortunately. So anybody who was planning to go down to Atlantic City, that will just not be an option. But, as we look towards that, I just want to applaud our current team for their resilience. A lot of you were Purple Eagles and went through your ups and downs here, but this year has been unlike any other. And to be full go and then full stop almost immediately based on a test, either your own, your teammates, or your opposition's, it's been that kind of year. I mean, we've been up and down and on and off, and it's hard to maintain through all of that. And when you're off, you're isolated. You're quarantined, and that's been a real challenge. So I applaud the resilience of our team this year and all of our student athletes who are just facing incredibly difficult odds.
No
Todd,
doubt about
that's
it.
what I wanted to say, and unfortunately, I don't see Coach on here. But if I know some of the guys have started to chime in, might be a nice time to look at some of that. And I'll step away and just see if we can find out where we are with Coach Paulus.
All right, that sounds good. Thanks very much, Simon. And as mentioned, I know that Tyrone Lewis was one of the early players to join in. So. Tyrone, just if you could unmute quickly and kind of say hello to the group and also kind of let everyone know what you're doing. Tyrone Lewis, many of our fans remember, part of the 2007 MAC championship team. In fact, the only rookie to be named MAC tournament MVP. So Tyrone Lewis, good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be part of this. I'm happy. Right now, I'm back home in Pennsylvania where I grew up. I'm the high school varsity coach at Truman. And then also I just got hired here at LA Fitness as the assistant general manager now. So that's where I'm at now at work doing this meeting. But things has just been great. That 2007 team was special. It's nice to see Rennie, Greg, and Fish. It's been a long time since we all really seen each other, but that group, man, set my foundation early for me to be successful later on in my career with Niagara and outside of that as well. But I'm happy to be here, and I'm thankful for y'all to have me.
Very good to see you. Very good to see you. Let's go to Lorenzo Miles. I have not had a chance to chat with Zoe in a while. So Lorenzo, thank you for joining in. Good to see you. Kind of some quick opening comments to the group, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's great to see everybody. Like Todd said, it's been a while since we saw each other and spoke. But it's definitely good that 2017 was definitely a resilient team. We definitely overcame a lot of odds, and the camaraderie was good, and we had each other back throughout the whole season, and we got it done. As of right now, I'm in Washington, D.C. I do financial consulting for the federal government at the moment. Starting my own little business called Maximal Potential. It's like a lifestyle brand, basically just trying to, encouraging people to be the greatest version of yourself. And we're doing it through fitness, athletic training, and stuff like that. But just to get back, love Niagara, love all the fans. We had a great time up there.
Excellent. Zoe, I'm gonna jump in for a minute. And Lorenzo Miles, one of the most prolific three-point shooters, right? Purple Eagles fans, 220 when he left Montego Ridge. We do have Niagara head coach Greg Paulus on, I believe, at this point. So, Coach, I don't have to remind you to unmute, but Niagara head coach Greg Paulus, thanks for joining us if you're all settled in.
Todd, awesome to be with you. Great to see those that helped make this place and tell our story. And it's awesome to get a chance to see you guys. Thanks for being a part of today.
It's really good to have you here. And a lot of times we talk about the roster. I love the backdrop behind you, Coach. There's your roster with the newest addition, Whitney, joining the Paulus lineup. A tremendous picture. Very nicely done there. Coach, I know we're on a little bit of press time, so let's talk a little bit about kind of your team. You're coming off the pause for the positive test. So before we get to Siena, we want to spend some time talking about that. But first things first, how are your Purple Eagles doing?
Yeah, we are coming off that 10-day pause, as you talked about. So we had the last game that we played was a win at Monmouth, or a win versus Monmouth at home. And what I thought was the best performance we've had as a team all season. And as we've learned through COVID times, being able to adapt and adjust, and with the positive test in our Tier 1 grouping, we had to shut down. So 10 days of no practice, no games. We got back. Our first team practice was Tuesday, where we kind of got back here. And so what we've tried to do over Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was just try to get some conditioning, get back to passing and catching, get some shots up. And then we kind of started at a certain time and then built up a little bit more each day because you can't just throw everybody back in here and say, hey, we're doing a team practice and none of us have done anything in some time. So, we've kind of built up to it. I know our guys are excited to play, and hopefully we can, dust off the rust and get a little bit of rhythm and timing early into this game.
Speak of timing, just incredibly ironic. I guess Siena goes on pause pretty much the same time that your team had too. So as we turn our attention to the Siena Saints, maybe, Coach, if you can give us a little bit of the scouting report on the Saints, some of their tendencies. We know about Manny Camper, and Jalen Pickett and how key they are, but it's not just the two of them. So give our attendees here a little scoop on the Saints.
Yeah, certainly. They're really good. They're one of the top teams in the league. They won the regular season last year. And, it starts for them with those two guys, Pickett and Camper. Pickett was the player of the year last year and certainly in the discussion this year. And Camper's an all MAC guy as well. And but they've gotten some transfers, couple of forwards and centers that are physical and talented and deep in that position. And then they got a couple guards that have really taken their game and really improved there with Jordan King and transfer from Belmont Hopkins, who can really shoot it. So, they're going to run a lot of ball screens for those guys, but they're also really effective in the post, getting to the foul line and finishing around the rim, their offensive rebounds. And so for us, they kind of hit you on three different levels because of the versatility that they have with the multiple guys that can score it.
Excellent. Now, maybe a little bit of their tendencies. Are they a man-to-man team, mostly zone? Kind of what will you see when you guys have the ball?
Yeah, they're a man-to-man team primarily. So I can see them picking up full court man-to-man. What teams have tried to do versus us is take our legs out a little bit with the pressure, trying to speed us up a little bit. They'll pressure the wings a little bit, denying. Okay. We're the number one team in the league at taking care of the basketball or assist to turnover ratio. And so what teams try to do is be more physical, extend their defense, try to pressure us a little bit more. But they will be a primarily man-to-man team and a very physical team that really tries to hit you in that way as well too. So that's a little bit about their defense. And, we'll see, because teams have also tried to double team us at different points. Marcus Hammond, Kobe Nwandu, they've showed that a little bit versus a couple of players. So we'll find out early on in this series if that's something that they're going to do in ball screens with Marcus, and then also in the post-up with Kobe Nwandu.
Coach, one of the things you talked about before we get to the keys to the game, this just kind of popped into my head, and I think a good chance for you to share this with the folks on the call today is you mentioned how Siena has some transfers, and the Purple Eagles, certainly Jordan Cintron, your transfer, granted immediate eligibility. And I just wanted maybe if you could spend a minute or two about that dynamic where into the season, the ruling comes down that, hey, your transfers are immediately eligible, and how you work that delicate balance of knowing that may be the eventual call made by the NCAA, and how did you work people into practice even though they weren't quite eligible yet, and then you get the green light?
Yeah, it was different managing that, because we had Jordan Cintron, who we were hoping to. We applied for a waiver for him to play with immediate eligibility, and so he was practicing, but he was also getting limited reps because at that point we were playing games and the season started. And with him not getting that approval yet, we were kind of working the team, preparing that he wasn't going to be able to play. And then 4 or 5 games in, he's able to play. And, he's made us better. He brings a toughness, he brings an edge, he brings a mentality and approach that, kind of lifts everybody up with his energy. And so for us, we've had to kind of remake the team multiple times this year, one without him, then one with him. Then we've had a few injuries along the way, and we've tried to have to adapt and adjust with that. And so it's been a little bit of that. And so hopefully we can get a little bit healthier the last few weeks of the season and can try to make a run at it.
Coach, let's hit the keys to the game. If Purple Eagles are going to come out in the winner's circle today, what are some things you'll reinforce with the club here in 45 minutes to an hour as to how you're going to get into the winner's circle today?
Yeah, I think for us, being able to set the tone with our physicality, playing through contact, also physicality on the glass, guarding the basketball. They run so many actions and ball screen actions that the multiple efforts are going to be important for us on the defense. And then offensively, we want to have great execution by, first and foremost, taking care of the basketball, all right, and then trusting our teammates. We're at our best when we're making those connecting type plays, inside, outside, driving, kick, one mores. And you can typically tell that when the assists are up and we're getting opportunities at the foul line. So, those are things that we're going to reemphasize here over the next 30 minutes or so with the team. But we're excited to get back to play. It's been over 3 weeks since we've been able to play. So, it's back-to-back days, which is a little bit different. But we're going to come out here, and I know our team is excited as well.
All right, Coach. Thanks very much. We're excited to see it. Niagara head coach Greg Paulus will let you head back into the locker room as you get the team ready. Thanks so much, Coach.
Hey, Todd, quickly, I just want to thank all the support here on the call, and also a special thank you to the former players. I haven't had a chance to meet some of you guys yet, and I can't wait for that opportunity to happen. But I know you guys created a lot of special moments and memories in the picture behind me in the Gallagher Center, and the recruits, the story we're telling is about the rich history that you helped build. And I have such great pride to be a part of it and be the head coach. And I just want to say I'm excited to be a part of this program, and I thank you for all that you've done for the program.
That is fantastic. Thank you, Coach. That's very well said. And certainly the alums and former Purple Eagles players that are on the call here today, they certainly still bleed purple, I'm sure, back in wherever they are these days. Next, Sharon Fisher. I think that Sharon is still with us. I'm sure joining us on the call. Sharon, jump in here a little bit if you would, and we just want to welcome you to the call and see how you're doing.
Hello.
Hello.
What's up, Todd?
Is that Sharon? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm really good. Really good to hear from you. Sharon Fisher, a member of a couple of the MAC championship teams in 05 and 07. And Sharon, always some great byplay between you and Tyrone Lewis. He lobbied a shot earlier. I don't know if you had caught that. But, Sharon, talk a little bit, if you would, about MAC championships and taking down the Siena Saints back in 07 as I'm sure some of those memories rush to the forefront of your mind.
Oh yeah, I didn't really hear what Tyrone said. I've been doing a lot of running around this morning, so I didn't get a chance to hear what he said. I know he said something crazy though, for sure.
It was wonderful.
I'm sure it was. But yeah, the rivalry with Siena, man, was always fun. It was always, they was the team that made us come out and play. So I mean, we enjoyed those games, and I'm just happy to be a part of, what we're putting together here for the virtual sellout, and just looking for a good turnout. Juan had hit me up and told me about it probably like a week or so ago, and I told him I'll definitely be on. So
that's great. One more thing, Sharon, and then I think we're going to queue up the highlight video with the Purple Eagles and the Siena Saints, just a little peek at the history, including some footage from 07. But for Sharon Fisher, one of the best stories that I remember, Sharon, was you finished your junior year with 999 points. The end of that season, I remember Coach Mahalik at the time going, does anyone in the world think that Sharon is going to even go into the backcourt and play defense on the first possession of 2008 because he's so close to 1,000 points? Talk a little bit about that run over 1,000 points and how you're able to fill up the basket, but the uniqueness of ending your junior year at 999 points.
Well, it was just crazy all 4 years there, and to be able to get to 1,000 as fast as I did, it was just a shout out to all my teammates. They got me the ball, and it made it a lot easier for me playing with great teammates like Lorenzo, Stanley, Tyrone, those guys, learning from Juan and Alvin and those guys. It just made my job a lot easier. So yeah, finishing at 999 my junior year was crazy. I don't know. I guess I missed a free throw or something like that. But yeah, they knew starting 2008. I wasn't crossing half court until I got one off.
That was greght. You didn't miss many free throws, certainly, Sharon, but maybe one. All right, so we've got Kyle Barker here right off the screenshot. So Kyle's going to queue up we've got a couple minutes of a video here that kind of through the years of the Purple Eagles and the Siena Saints, and you'll be able to view that here with the screen share. You might have to turn up your own volume a little bit as we put it through a couple of different channels to bring it to you.
Trying to snap that skid here today. Nelson, a cut to finish.
Oh, with authority, just a tomahawk jam.
Comes back to Jackson to miss the layup. On the leak out, here comes Cooley. Niagara University with a statement victory, knocking off the regular season champs, 185. Nelson down the baseline with the left-handed buggy whip jam. Wow. Shot. Oh, wow, what a throw down there by Lewis. Where'd he come from? Niagara hands Siena its first loss in 16 games.
Over 100 meetings between the two schools, and I'll tell you what, it gave me goosebumps back into the 05 year, the 07 year, cutting down the nets. Let's jump it up. I'd take the Purple Eagles alum against any other MAC schools alum. Even the folks on this call, we will challenge any other school with people on a Zoom call right now. I would take the Purple Eagles. I want to bring in now another former Purple Eagle, Bill McCready. If Bill is on the call. Bill, we certainly want to welcome you, and if you can unmute and just talk about your excitement still being able to follow your school and the Purple Eagles program. Bill McCready, great to have you here today.
All right, there you go. I got it. I see I'm on a different name, number one. My technological skills haven't changed.
We know it's you.
It's great to follow the school and the basketball, and congratulations, Greg, on a great job with the teams. I heard Sharon speaking a little while ago about playing, and the only thing biggest thing I remember about him is in 2010 when we had a reunion game up at Niagara, and I come down to court, and Sharon said, what am I going to do? I got to get down court and get a rebound. He says, just throw it up there, and I'll do the cleanup. And he certainly did a good job on that, But the school is great. It's great tradition. I could tell you 100 Calvin Murphy stories, but everybody has those.
Right.
Fabulous experience, and enjoy the season every year.
Well, it's certainly good to have you joining us today, and we know you're still a staunch supporter of the program. So, Bill, welcome, and I'm sure you'll be with us not only the rest of today, but as this exciting season continues. Purple Eagles 6-8 in conference play, but a big opportunity here this weekend. In fact, Niagara's next 4 games to wrap up the regular season will all be across the parking lot inside the Gallagher Center. And folks, how great was it during that highlight reel to see those cardboard cutouts come to life, right? The actual fans in the building. So, we'll all point to that for next season, right? To get people back inside the Gallagher Center and create that special environment for the opposing teams. I saw that Greg Noel is also on the call, and Greg, want to bring you in here and get your take off of a couple of championship teams. And Coach talked a little bit about Jordan Cintron, instant energy when they plug him in. I thought for Greg Noel, you were an energy guy off the bench. So, Greg, welcome today, and kind of let us know how you're doing. We see he's unmuting, just about ready to go. Greg?
You hear me?
We can barely hear you. I remember, Greg, you always had a camera and you're filming. I'm like, you were the last guy that I thought would have any trouble connecting.
You hearing me now, or?
Yeah, you're good. Let her rip.
So I'm back home in Montreal. Me and Juan are, basically still talking pretty much every day, taking a look at what the team is going on. I have my daughter right next to me. I'm a father now, so
congratulations.
But to get back to those years at Niagara, obviously, yes, my role was basically to come in, bring energy to the game, bring something new, and especially in practice to get those guys ready. And Sharon said it best, everybody on the team had a role. We had to make sure that those guys and everybody was ready for games like Siena. So, again, that's my best memories from NU. So
that is excellent. No doubt about it. The rivalry games and taking on Siena. And thank you, Greg, for joining us. Stick with us. Who knows? Hopefully, some questions on the other side as we go into our second half hour here. J.R. Duffy. I don't know if JR is on. If JR, if you're there, certainly unmute. If Tyrone or Sharon or one of you guys know that if JR is with us or not, but JR Duffy, if you're there, unmute and give us a hello.
I don't think JR is on.
Okay, all right.
I don't think he's on.
Greg had mentioned Juan Mendez. Juan, if you are there, certainly join us if you would. Part of the 2005 Purple Eagle MAC championship team.
Todd, I haven't seen Juan either yet, unfortunately.
Okay, all right. Greg maybe can run down the street if they're close. I'm not sure if David Srincione has joined in. David down in Austin, Texas, part of the 07 MAC championship team. I've just got little boxes to see who's joining in and who hasn't yet. David, are you there? If you are, unmute.
Todd, he was on earlier. I did see him, but I don't see him on right now.
Okay. All right. Very good. Now, if we have some questions from the group in attendance, we can open it up and just, if you would identify, who you are, who your question's for. It could be some of the former players as you guys try to evoke memories from one another and talk in a little bit more detail about your time together. But, let's turn it over to the group and as the best job we can on a live Zoom call here to kind of facilitate a little bit of a Q&A. So whoever wants to go first, just unmute and identify yourself and off we'll go.
Todd, I'll jump in. This is for the former players, anybody. It's really interesting this year how we're playing back-to-back days against the same opponent. And, that hadn't really happened before that I know of. So I'd be curious to know your thoughts. If you would have, and Ty, I don't know if your team's doing this at all in the high school season, but would that have changed your approach? And by the way, Sharon, that's an awesome jersey you have on.
Oh, my God. I can't. Who's that, my jersey?
That's awesome.
I got a Rocket jersey, Tyrone. I'm a Tyrone Lewis fan.
Yeah.
It's gone off the rails. It's gone off the rails. Go ahead, T. Lewis.
To answer the question, Mr. Gray, though,
yeah.
At the high school level, right now in my area, so we don't play the same team twice, but what we do now is instead of playing outside of our league, we've only done league play only. So we play twice a week and only our league, no one else outside the league.
Let me also go to any other players. Think about that dynamic, though, of playing that game. It is like MAC tournament time, right, where you have to get a quick night's rest and maybe a quick scouting report, but just how you can learn, and you have to plug in right away. You ended the game. Usually the games are at 4 o'clock. Today will be at noon, right? So the games are going to end at 2, and the players have to, get some food and get off their feet. But then there's going to be some review and trying to figure out what worked, what didn't, and how within the next 24 hours can we turn something that maybe was a negative during the game into a positive to help us win the next day. For our former players, whoever wants to take this, think about MAC tournament time where you had to go from the win the prior day, survive in advance, and how quickly you had to download information for the next day's game.
I mean, obviously video session is out the window because you don't have time to review the game that you just played. But at the same time, who's hot, who's, who had a great night and everything. So your scouting report will adjust for the next game. And obviously you want to counter this for the next next game. But I don't know. It's very different. I believe that in our case, when we played at the MAC tournament, it's a different opponent. So we had tons of videotape of those opponents from previously on the season. But now it's the same opponent. I guess that's the best way you get prepared for it.
Just hearing about the rivalry, your daughter is fired up. I like that. She's trying to jump in.
Yeah,
That's excellent. All right, now let's think again for some of the former players. Think of the Canisius rivalry, and this year it will be, we're playing Thursday, March 4th, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we play them again the next day, Friday, March 5th. You think about that rivalry, and again, just having to turn around the next day. It took months to get to the Canisius game, and a lot of times there's weeks in between. How unique, how difficult will that be to then play the very same team the next day? We'll open that up to anyone with memories, I'm sure, of the Canisius Niagara series.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the best, I think, rivals that I've been a part of in basketball. I mean, in our 4 years, we always said it wasn't much of a rival when you keep beating them. I think they only beat us like twice in the 4 years. But no, I think the playing back-to-back, it's a different feel, though. It wasn't necessarily the game. It was the crowds that made it the difference. Like, we used to pack the gym on games, but it was nothing like the Canisius versus Niagara game.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I haven't – even to this day, I haven't seen a rival like that. Like, I know Duke, North Carolina is nice, but that to me is old. Like, put a Canisius Niagara game on TV. People will be surprised about that.
The rivalry, Gonzaga, when we play our rivalry, I try to rivalry more. It'd be fun to play again this day, but they basically kind of the game. I would take that time to add a little wrinkle in there where you could catch them off guard when they think that we about to run this. If it's a situational type of part in the game, just throw a wrinkle in there where kind of would throw them off because they were thinking we gonna run something else, and then we he not coming off that down screen. It's gonna be a cross screen somewhere else that somebody wide open for a shot that could change the whole game. So I would kind of like playing it to throw those wrinkles in, but then as a player, I would love to play right away too. So
yeah, especially for like the type of team that we had, playing us back-to-back days would have been because you just never know. You might have Tyrone go off this day, next game it could be Rennie, it could be Stan, it could be me. Like you just never knew. So teams really needed, and for us, we were smart and good basketball players, so we could adjust on the fly. So it will be like, all right, we just saw this, and now we know next game there might not do the same thing, but everything is going to come down to pretty much that same play. So I think for us playing back-to-back days, we would have had some pretty good success with it, and I don't think teams would have been able to really do a lot with us playing us back-to-back days, but not being able to scout us and really being able to, get your body rest because we were up and down the floor. So we were trained for that, and we were ready to go. So you having to deal with that back-to-back days, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, no doubt about it. One of the topics, again, for our former players to jump in here, think about the environment now this year with cardboard cutouts, and you have to bring your own energy. We saw in that highlight reel that the crowd could easily raise the decibel level inside the Gallagher Center, and it might be freezing outside, right, fellas? And then you walk in that gym and you are sweating because there's so much energy inside the building. Fast forward to this year, talk about how you need that internal drive. Tyrone, I know on the sidelines right now with your team, but anybody, just talk about how it would really fall upon yourself to have that energy to succeed.
Now, I think that probably would have affected us the most because the way we played, we were an emotional team. So we fed a lot off of the crowd, and we fed a lot off of each other and from what the other team did. So without playing with no fans and things like that in the stands, I think that would have caused a little bit of issues. We would have figured it out, but that was a big part of our games. Like our record at the Gallagher Center over the 4 years was like almost we had one of the best records in the country because people just didn't want to come there to play.
Yeah.
So we couldn't get nobody there to come play us there. So, I mean, that having fans there is just a completely different game than the way the game is now. But, you know, it's all adjusting, and I think we would have been able to adjust to it.
People would have heard everything you was talking about on the court, Fish.
Right.
All the trash talk that you did.
Yeah,
we ain't need no fans. We just needed you. You, Brenny, y'all was more than enough energy, and Greg.
That is one thing that we see. Fellas, that is one thing that we see right now is you didn't have to have some cryptic way to figure out what play that they were calling out because you couldn't hear it. Now in the building, you know exactly what play they're running when it comes from the sideline. Just talk a little bit about preparation. I know certainly for our current edition of Purple Eagles, and it would be the same story as far back you go. The amount of time that you put in before the opening tip to study that scouting report and know the tendencies of your opponent. Talk about how you really would have to devote yourself before the game started, you know, planning to succeed. So then when the game started, you could enjoy that success. Talk about getting ready for a game.
I'll say this time with the 2017, what made them unique or made us unique was that, I'll be honest with you, that mindset that Sharon and Lorenzo and JR had when I got there was it didn't matter. We would call a play out and they'd be like, it's for Fish, it's for Fish. And Fish was like, yeah, it's for me. Come and stop it. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. We didn't care if you knew every single play we ran coming down the floor, you had to stop it. And as far as preparing for another team, I'll say this as a rookie on that team, as silly as Fish and Sharon or Fish and Lorenzo and them were, when it came to like really knowing an opponent, they had it down pat. Like Fish would be like, T, he's going to come down on this screen, get ready for the steal. Like we was just, I don't know. When we locked in, it was just a different team. And guys played different positions. Fish could play the 5 to the 2. Rennie was the point to the 1 or the 3. Like it was just as far as preparing for a team, it really was more like you had to prepare for us. That was our mindset.
One thing.
What I was gonna say. We really didn't care. We didn't care if you knew exactly the play that we were running coming down. And you just had to stop it. So, and we got that from Coach. You know, Coach would tell us, hey, Coach, look, when you call it out too loud, hey, man, I don't care. Run the play. Score. So,
I love that.
So.
Certainly no shortage of confidence on these teams that we're talking about. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Not at
all. Let me bring Bill back in here, though. Bill McCready, back in your day when you're playing, you didn't have footage of every team and every possession from 26 different angles. Talk about how you guys would prepare yourself for your games. Just unmute.
Yeah, preparation for the games back in those days is a little different. We did not have film. We didn't do all those technical things as far as knowing we just studied the people. Frank Layden, the coach, he had it under his belt what everybody did. We practiced on who's right-handed, left-handed. We knew what they were going to do coming down the court. And when we practiced, we actually took roles of the other team in practice to go against ourselves. So when somebody would coming down, he'd have to go left-handed because the other player's left-handed, or he would come down the left side of the court instead of the right side of the court all the time. And you study that way. But with the talent we had, it was very easy. And, you know, I was told before a little while ago about the fans in the stands. I mean, they were just crazy in those days. Of course, it probably had a little bit to do with the rat sculler and the drinking age was only 18 in those days. So it was a little bit rowdy. But that does help. It does help. And those years were great. One thing I know, one story I tell all the time about Calvin in practice, I had to cover him coming down the court, taking somebody when we were in Oklahoma City. And I'm coming down the court holding him. I'm in his jock strap. I'm pulling his pants down, holding his shirt, everything I could do but tie his sneakers together. And he just stopped about 5 feet over half court. And his belt line would be about in my eyesight and just drop it in. and just yell at me about having to play better defense. So it was intense all the time. And you talk about Frank Layden, nice guy, all those things. But when you're on the court, he was a bear, you know. So, and that's how you win the games. You got to practice, you got to study, and you got to work hard at it.
I'm glad you brought up the 2010 alumni game, because if memory serves, and Calvin was here, and he was, taking some of those current Purple Eagles and on a little bit of a dribbling show. And when it came time to make a basket, Calvin might have, buried one over Sharon. I don't know if I've got footage of that, but that was that
probably
was
as long as he was on the run, he would do that.
Yep.
Because Calvin could hit, he can stuff it in from on the run with two hands and underneath the basket with one hand. So he could get up there. He could sky.
That is fantastic. I also want to, again, if we have any fans that are on the call, not bashful, certainly jump in here. I will go, to other questions, but we want to open it up to some of our attendees. If you have anything that you want to ask, again, just unmute and jump in. And if not, that's okay. As a play-by-play guy, I can just keep going. So that's fantastic. No problem. But what I do want to do now is for the former players, if you think about you win the championship to then advance to March Madness and the NCAA tournament. And I was, fortunate enough in 05 in the color chair. And then my first year as play-by-play in 07, we cut down the nets at Webster Bank Arena at Harbor Yard. And then it's on to March Madness. So in whatever order the former players want to take this, the excitement of winning the championship, knowing that your next game is going to be, a traditional, what you look forward to so much playing in March Madness. And then that stage, we have a few minutes left. So maybe it'll have to be quick before we wrap things up with Simon, but talk about going on that stage. You came from Niagara here on campus, and you go to the biggest stage of all. I'll turn it over to our former players to jump in.
I mean, that year, I felt like, we felt like we were going to the tournament that whole year. We started off slow. We had some problems at the beginning of the year, and but we were one of the hottest teams going into the tournament. So we felt like, we felt like we got a pretty bad draw on the seedings.
That's right. We had to play the playing game.
Correct.
We had to play the playing game. We were like, so we looked at it as a challenge, and it was just a great experience. We got we go to Chicago, right?
No, went to Dayton first.
Dayton first, and then Chicago.
Then went to Chicago though. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Me and Tyrone mom was crying at the airport. We still
That's excellent.
Trying to fly out.
That's right. It was a snowstorm in Philadelphia. The Villanova fans who played in Chicago with us, they couldn't make it out to the tournament.
Yeah.
I think the 07 team, I've just gone off memory here again, it might have been 13 wins in a row going into the tournament. And then, selection Sunday, we're inside the Gallagher Center. We find out we got to go to Dayton and play Florida A&M. It's a game that the Purple Eagles win. And then it's on to Chicago to play Kansas. Again, anyone that wants to jump in talking about going to March Madness, or in 05 going to take on the Oklahoma Sooners.
Yeah, for me to experience it for the first time, because I played with the guys that won it in 05. Most of them had won it in 05. So it was like another day for them going into the tournament. They knew what to expect. But for somebody like me coming from Levittown in a small high school, for me, the playing game was a great experience. To go play in Dayton, Ohio, and it was 20,000 fans in there.
Yep.
Probably the biggest crowd I had ever played in at the time. And then the great thing was, it's not like now where I think you have like 3-4 playing games. We were the only team on TV at that time. So everybody who didn't know us got to see us play. And it was a funny moment because me and Fish was like, we were hot going into that game, and we only scored like 10, 12 points. And it was Cliff who had the game of the night with 33. And they captured a picture of me and Fish laughing because we looked at the score and saw we only had 12 points in the game. But that was a great experience, though. Team bond. It's something you can't put a price on, right? Like you can't. I try to describe to my high school kids that type of experience, and they think I'm like making it up.
You had that ESPN inbound dunk, though. I still remember that. I still tell people.
Oh yeah. People talk about that.
That play right there. It's like, yeah, we here.
Yeah. But you know what people don't realize is that I subbed in, and remember the kid blocked my shot to like the middle of the stands. That's what. So that's what started.
That's excellent. The things you remember. I'm not sure if Lorenzo is still on there. I think Lorenzo was on the move. He had a fast break during the call. I think you could see him driving away. I'm not sure if Stowe is still on there to get his thoughts.
I'm here, but it's going in and out on my end. So I'm hearing bits and pieces. But definitely both experiences was amazing. The first one, you know, it was with Juan, Alvin, and Dave and that crew, you know, so your role was different than with 2007. You know, it was a good time. It was a good time, good experience. When traded for the world. Yeah, that's all I really got to say with that one. It definitely was a fun time. I definitely was disappointed about that seeding. I ain't understand that. Like playing game, like.
But it got us an NCAA tournament win. It counts as an NCAA tournament win.
Nah, you know what was big about that year though, Todd? That was great was Rennie was originally the 2 guard on that team, and then he moved to the 1. And I came off the bench to the 2, and that changed everything. If you go back and watch the MAC tournament leading up, like as a senior to a freshman to make sacrifices where he could have shot the ball, but instead gave it to me. Like you said, Rennie was the all-time 3-point shooter. He had every right to take the shot. But if you go back and watch the Siena championship game, we won the game because he gave the extra one more pass to me, and I made the play, but – I'll never forget just the plays he made, and that he easily could have been the MAC tournament if he picked the way he played in those 3 games. You know, I think I was like maybe a point or 2 ahead. Fish didn't do much, but it's okay. We held it down for him.
Well, if I could
as we wrap up, and again, this could go past the opening tip, but I'd still be sitting here. But just a minute or 2 left, of course, to all of our former student athletes that are on the call. You guys created, you know, a ton of memories, just like Coach Paulus says. So we're building this on your shoulders, and really just congratulations out to each of you for what you've done for this program and how you're still out there, and we know you're still following. Simon, if you're still on, I do want to kind of turn it over to you to wrap things up for us here as we end our call here at 11:30 and get ready for the noon game. But Simon, I'll turn it over to you.
Todd, thank you, and I appreciated having a chance at the beginning of the call just to say a few things. So just the final message I would think from me is a message of appreciation for everything that everyone on the call, players, fans, donors, have done for Niagara University. A couple of years ago, we were able to put the 69-70 team into the Hall of Fame, and Bill was on campus, and Calvin was on campus, and members of that team. And that was such a special moment. And last year, Coach Mahalik got a virtual call of the championship team together, and I was fortunate enough to be on that call. And, of course, we're all thinking about Coach. But, like the history and the heart of Niagara basketball just continues to pound, and everybody is still feeling that. And I want you to know, and I'm sorry that we can't be together on campus or when we come to your cities right now, that Coach Paulus absolutely embraces that heart and the history. And we are in really good hands. And the players that we have on the court right now are developing. It's been a very odd year with a lot of disruptions, but I just want you to have confidence in where Niagara basketball is and everything that you have done, fans and players, to get us, to an incredibly strong tradition. We're fighting back to make you proud every day. So please know that, and when we can be together, we look forward to that as well. But thank you for following us in the virtual environment. Because it is appreciated and it is felt here on campus. Thanks, Todd.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Simon. Sorry to jump in early. To everyone that joined in on the call, thank you for spending an hour of your Saturday morning with us, players and fans alike. I will talk to you at noon, hopefully again, ESPN3, the platform, for another edition of the rivalry between the Purple Eagles and the Siena Saints. So thank you once again for joining us. Again, my name is Todd Callen, and we wish you a great day, everyone.